All right, CADILLAKTRACKZ. I'm back again, and let's try this again, man. It's been a while since I made a video, so I wanted to make one real quick. I wanted to give a special thanks to the individuals that just bought my template recently. So very much thank you. I appreciate that. It's been quite some time since I made the template, but I just want to go over a few features. I'm going to make some new videos where I add a new camera where you'll actually be able to see the machine and see what I'm doing on it. Because I think that's what's going on, is that nobody knows what the template actually is or does. It's just hard to go over all the features so quickly, so I'm just going to dig in real quick. And if you have my template, you already know that this is what Fruity Loops will look up. This is what it will look like when you open up the template. And what it does is it connects Maschine to Fruity Loops so that you're able to push play, stop, record. You're able to use all these functions like turning the metronome on. You can have the countdown enabled. You can open up the playlist, the mixer, the browser, and also the step sequencer. Also, it allows you to navigate through the browser using the knob on the MK3. It has an undo button. It has a button that switches from pattern to song mode. It's got the volumes linked up for these first 8 tracks right here. Also the pan linked up. It's got a mode that allows you to finger drum in Maschine and have the notes come out on Fruity Loops like this. Or you could just put your drums in right here with the mouse on Fruity Loops. So the template goes back and forth. It's a great way to utilize Maschine and Fruity Loops together. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna open up the template real quick. It takes a little while on my computer. I'm sure your computer is a lot faster, supercomputer. My computer is an older model, so there it goes. This is what template looks like. This is the Maschine part of the template. So when I say template, I don't just mean like a little configuration set up in the program. Kind of like with Maschine. This is a Fruity Loops template if you look on the screen. This is be a Maschine template, but these are not, the templates are just additions. What my template, or what I call the template, is actually a configuration. I set the machine up to control Fruity Loops. So when you push buttons on the machine, it controls Fruity Loops. Plus it has a Fruity Loops template, plus it has a Maschine template. So these kind of help bring it all together. So if you open up my template, you know the first group right here is the drum kit group. This is where you can play drums. I have another one for effects, and then from there we have a perform effects chain. You could load this instrument, or this is a VST plugin, on the master channel. I could have my whole beat or audio, like a loop or a pattern, a melody I made. And I can have it run and put the audio through Maschine, and then I can start to switch between the perform effects and actually record and automate what I'm doing as I play it. So I could have a melody running through here, and then I could just push the stutter button, and then I could start touching the touch strip. And it's going to start stuttering the audio. I can record it as automation, then I could go back on another take, or like right over it when it loops. I could add a filter. I can go in and I can start tweaking the filter. Then I can come back with the scratcher and scratch it using my finger on the Maschine MK3. So that's why we have a perform effects chain. You need to check out my video where I show you how to use it. Also with Maschine, all the pads, if you go to the drum kit, all the 16 pads are linked up to the mixer, the first 16 tracks. So when I play a pad, the sound comes through on the mixer on Fruity Loops. So we could just add effects in and start to mix it right here instead of mixing it on the screen on Maschine, where you can go either way. You can mix it in Maschine, or you can use the Fruity Loop mixer right here. So they're already linked up to each other. That's what these are right here. So if you look right here, we have these 16 different little slots. These are actually MIDI out. So when I click or I put drums in right here and I push play, it's going to start to play the pad on my Maschine MK3. The pad is going to light up as if I was finger drumming it, or like a ghost was finger drumming it. But also remember that we have a triggers mode on the template. So you could actually finger drum on the Maschine MK3 and have all 16 pads come into Fruity Loops and then drop notes like this, where there would be little dots instead of notes like this where that would be in the piano roll. Usually when you record a note, it comes in like this, but you can actually, I showed you in the video how you can actually have it come through as dots instead, and you can have it set up to have it auto quantize so that the dots actually align and they're all on time. So what I'm saying is you can finger drum all 16 pads into Fruity Loops at the same time, just like finger drumming is, and have it record all different channels at the same time in one take. I've showed you how to do it on my template on another video, but we're not going to go into that right now. But we call that triggers mode. My template has like 20 different pages. 4 or 5 of the pages are just dedicated modes, different things and options that I went ahead and added. So we call that the triggers mode, or if you have the template, it's called the triggers page. All you do is load it up, switch the settings I showed you how to switch on, and then you can start finger drumming. We also have a dedicated locks thing right here. This allows you to sequence out lock states. If you had a pattern, and you could have another lock state where certain sounds are muted or certain effects come on, and then we can switch between lock state 1, 2, and 3 just by sequencing them out right here inside the playlist in Fruity Loops. It's real powerful. It's good to have it right on hand right there. We also have a functions tab where I have different functions that I've enabled. I'm not going to go over that right now. But this is I just want to give you a brief layout of what the template looks like. On the top, you have this one called Lax MIDI. All it is just an empty channel, because sometimes when you're making a pattern, you might have a melody or something going on like this, and then you're just like, oh, I like this melody, but I want to switch it up. So just paste it right here. It doesn't have any sound or anything coming out of here, but it'll save those notes for you. That way you can reference them later. It comes in handy. I use it all the time. We have a dedicated swing button on my template that actually swings the whole project, or you can swing individual patterns or channels by themselves. Man, we have so much stuff on the template. But I'm going to go over this beat right here that we made. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to close Maschine, because on this beat I wasn't using Maschine. And that's the beauty of it. You can still utilize, I could make the whole beat on Maschine or Fruity Loops, or we can just use both of them. And that's how we combine creative ideas. Like, for example, my template has the scales mapped out. So hell, if you had a keyboard and you wanted to play in scale, you could just use my template as a keyboard instead of using your keyboard on your device, or if you don't have a keyboard. So now you're able to play in scale using my template. So it all comes in handy, and we can use them all together. It's not replacing one or the other. They're supposed to be used together or in tandem. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you kind of what we did right here. I think if there's anything else I should go over with the template, but like I said, in my new videos you'll be able to see the machine, so you can actually see me push the buttons. But let's just go over the sounds real quick. I'm going to keep this video short. It's actually like my 3rd time recording it. So this is the beats that I've been making with my Maschine template and with Fruity Loops. I'm going to switch it over to pattern mode. On my template, there's a button to switch between pattern and song mode. The first pattern that we made was this one. It was just a little pad. It sounds like this. Shit, I gotta put my earphones in. If I don't put the earphones in, then it's gonna echo and it's gonna sound bad. Alright. Alright, the first sound was this little pad that I had put on here. I can't hear it now. And so as you can see, it's just a few notes that we did. These notes you could have did on the Maschine MK3. All I would have done is push record. Since I have a button, I would have opened up the playlist, the piano roll with my piano roll button. I would have pushed stop or record. It would have armed up Fruity Loops. This is actually coming from, I believe, Nexus or something. I showed you in another video where we can actually organize our presets for different VSTs. It's a powerful feature because the template can browse through the browser, so I could use my left hand to browse through presets. I push down on the button or the jog wheel knob, it'll load the preset up into the VST, and then I can use my right hand to play out melodies. If I mess up, I can just push stop. I have an undo button on my template, so we can just stop, we can undo, we can go back, and we just keep doing takes over and over. So we made this pattern right here. This is a simple pattern. We could have recorded this on the Maschine. I probably would have just pushed record, recorded these little chords right here by pushing 3 square pads, And then I would have, on the next take, probably came back, switched it up an octave, and then pushed 3 more pads to make these little melodies. So all these can be done. I did this by keyboard, but all these can be done by mouse, keyboard, or on the Maschine MK3 for that. All right, I'm gonna go down to the next sound that I had. It was this little synth. It sounds like this. And so that was just a little bell sound. It just kind of went with the pad. After that, I had added a piano. I did some low notes on the piano just to kind of follow the bass. Sounds like that. Once again, if I had the template, we would have loaded up. This came from Nexus. I would have loaded up Nexus. I would have went over to my I have all the Nexus presets organized. I showed you how to do that in the video. Nexus can have like 40,000 sounds. You don't want to have them all just browsing through them or using that horrible Nexus browser. So I showed you how to organize them. Look, I have them organized into guitars, leads, kits, pianos, plucks. So I would have went through using my knob. It would have browsed inside one of these. I would have clicked on one. It would have loaded it inside of my Nexus. I would have did that with my left hand, and my right hand would be on the pads because I'll be pushing the pads to see which sound I want to pick. So it's a faster way to browse through sounds using the template. The template has that knob. That knob on my template I showed y'all does so much. You could browse. You can navigate through big menus quickly with that knob, and you can also move the different screens, and you can go up and down these things with the knob. So the knob has different features on different pages, and I mentioned that in my video showing y'all about it. All right, after that we just made some little chords. And you remember, all these channels are links to the mixer tracks. All right, so after that we did a little guitar. Same thing with this. It's a simple guitar. You could easily play this out using the pads on the machine. And you can hear that guitar. It's a little pattern, but you can hear it sounds like a MIDI guitar. The notes, they sound electronic, and it's just real sequence. That's what I've been doing lately. I make these guitar melodies or beats like this, and then I send it to a guy that I'm working with. He's a guitarist, and a melody like that is super simple. He could easily play that, and he could easily improv or add to it. So it's nothing for him to play that over, and it sounds way, way, way better. But this gives him a reference so he can see what notes are being hit and kind of how it sounds. And so the same thing, I usually send him like a little guitar lead, and you know, I'm not a guitarist, but I'll play some notes on the MIDI keyboard, and then he'll play them, and he does a lot better job representing the ideal that I'm trying to make. But we need to give him a reference or a point of reference, so we just make simple guitar melody. So for that note, since I'm sending the guitars to someone else, it doesn't matter what MIDI guitar. I could use the worst, the most horrible guitar. It could be like ding, ding, ding. As long as I can kind of hear the melody and I send it to him, and he'll just replay it, and it'll sound great. So it doesn't matter what guitar preset we use to do that. So we have those two guitar melodies, and then I added this little lead. It was a nice sound that I found. It didn't really match the other sounds, but it had a lot of contrast. I liked it. So we just made a simple pattern. And you can see it's real simple. We didn't change any note velocity or nothing. I just put it in. And then last thing I did is I added a little bass. Or like a sub bass, if you will. So that's how it was. Once we have all our sounds, I recommend to y'all make your whole beat in one pattern. After you have all the sounds clashing together in one pattern or one 8-bar loop, then go up here and go to split by channel, and then split it, and then focus on sequencing. And then you can mix and mute certain sounds out. but it's the best way to do it quickly. So once we have all our sounds right here, what we'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll label these sounds, because what you can do is you can just click on this, hold down Control, and it's going to allow you to select multiple channels. From there you can go to the mixer, right click on the channel you want to route it to, and go to select starting from this channel. It's going to route them all right there. And what it does when you do that, all these are already routed because we already routed them in my template. But what it does is it transfers the name over, so now it has the name. I'm gonna show you something with this mixer. Remember I said the first 16 pads are dedicated for the 16 pads on Maschine. Then we have a dedicated FX channel. This is just for effects, because remember in my Maschine template I have a second group B, that I use for effects. So all the group B sounds are coming to this track. Then remember we have that perform effects chain. So we're going to use the perform effects chain, or if I enable it, all the audio from that is going to come to this channel. So that's what we have those set up for. Then we have our 8 audio channels, and then this is just a channel for my beat tag. And then the last one right here, FL sounds. This is just all the sounds that come through. Like if I was to click on the browser and browse a sound, it will come through here, and I could turn it up or down. Or if I enable the metronome, I could set the level of the metronome. So these are the Fruity Loop sounds. So that's just how the mixer is set up, just for reference again. And remember, these are set up back and forth so that MIDI is transferred between Maschine and Fruity Loops using the setup, because the templates set them up. Alright, so we have these set up. If you go down right here, you can see that I've added these sounds in, because remember with Fruity Loops, a lot of times it's real easy just to go to my drum kit, drag some sounds in real quick, and just go like this, and bam, I got a whole drum melody. And so sometimes that's faster, but if you have a Maschine, why not finger drum, or why not drag those samples into Maschine and then start to finger drum and then have them record onto Fruity Loops like this. Or you could have just recorded them right into the Maschine sequencer, or I could drop the notes right here, and then I could push play and record it, and it's going to record these notes into Maschine. So it's either or. You can do it all in Maschine, you can do it all in Fruity Loops, or I might have the drums going through Maschine and say, hell, I like doing snare rolls on Fruity Loops, because I can go here and then push Control U or whatever and blah blah blah. Or you might like to do your rolls or something on Fruity Loops, so you could do it right here. Or you might say, well, I like to do the rolls on Maschine because I can push the note repeat button, and so either or. So you can have some drums from Maschine, some drums from Fruity Loops. This is what it looks like when I drag the samples in. But remember, if the samples were a Maschine, I would be sequencing my whole drums up here. But since we didn't use Maschine, we went ahead and we just loaded it up. So just remember that this allows you to use both of them, and it's not either or, and it's never going to handicap you. It just opens up more possibility. That's why I try to stress with the template. All right, so this is everything right here, man. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of play this together and kind of show you what we did. But I just wanted to make a quick video to let y'all know that I'm going to start making some new videos about the template. And we're going to add some stuff to the template. So if you have the template, send me an email and I will send you a link with a new download for the template. The template has so much, because remember we added the gross beats preset, the page, so that we can control gross beat using our template. I added the triggers mode so that we could record all 16 pads simultaneously. We added a functions mode so that we could have more functions, and then we have all of the features of the template. The template has like 21 pages in it. Each page has different settings, and it also has every scale mapped out in minor for all the keys. Plus it has like an extra page if you want to do a sign or try to create something your own, because for example, if you load up a plugin, we're about to end the video, but if you load up a plugin like Gross Beat, and I'm about to organize this too, we're gonna go my template allows you to switch and push buttons to select all these, and all the buttons to select these are on one page and they're all green. And then I have another page where you can select these and they're all orange. It looks so nice, and it's set up and it's controlling gross beat. And the beautiful thing about it is that since it's on the pads, you could have a melody running through it, and then I could push pad 1 and it's going to switch to like this template, and it'll go stutter, 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 stutter. And then at the drop of a dime, I can push another pad all the way over here, and it's going to switch the preset to another preset, and it's going to warp my audio. I can have that take effect immediately right here by the trigger, or I can have it come in after a delay and make a transition. It allows you to freak your audio crazy. I'm surprised no one ever thought about doing something like that, but the Maschine is the perfect thing because it's got all these buttons and pads, so I can link out all these to different pads, and then I can switch through the settings at the drop of a dime with my hand. You could really, there's so much possibility with that. But I'm gonna rest my case on that. Let me just go ahead and play this, man, and then until next time, like I said, I'm gonna make a download available for a drum kit. All of my drum kits, if you open them up, all of the 16 pads are linked up using the template. So if you have the template, they're gonna link up right away. Otherwise, you might need to route, just like you would route audio from Maschine to Fruity Loops. And that's why it's important to have a template, because hell, even if you didn't buy my template and you want to use Maschine and Fruity Loops together, one day you're going to need to go through, set them up, and you're probably going to want to save that setting so that you can get to it quickly. You don't have to route those things every time. That's what I've done on my template, but so much more. And then the configuration settings to be able to control these things. So I'm gonna go ahead and just play what I've been working on. I want to kind of show y'all what I've been doing, and that's about it, man. This is a beat, we just made it. I showed you all the sounds. I haven't mixed it or anything, but it's got a good little reference, and this is how we start them out. We set all the sounds on our little channel right here. I'm using the Maschine to navigate and open up the playlist, the mixer, the editor, to stop and to record notes and to browse through my browser. So I'm using the whole Maschine to control Fruity Loops. Plus we're recording into Fruity Loops. If I want, I could have had the drums coming from Maschine. I could have had more samples coming from Maschine. Let me just show you another thing while we're talking about Maschine shit. You see how this mixer is full? I could go to any channel, like this open channel, and I can add another Maschine, okay? If I add another Maschine has 16 pads, which means it has 16 outs. If I add one right here, the next 16 channels are going to be dedicated to that Maschine that I just opened up on this channel. So if I wanted to fill up the mixer more, or if I just wanted to open up like a new group, or just have a whole nother Maschine which gives you more groups, we could open up a whole nother Maschine and then have it taking up these extra 8 pads, and those could be the samples or some shit, or sampling the melodies, So it's so many possibilities, man. So I'm just gonna end it like that, and I'm gonna play this little beat that I was working on. Why is this same one? And you can see like down here when I dragged my drums in, we just routed them right here. But remember, all these are already routed. So I'm just gonna show you what we've been working on, and until I make my next video, go ahead and download the little drum kit. I'm gonna include some of my drum kits. They're all 16 sounds on the pads. They're all colored, organized. They're good. They're dope. And I have a large sound library, and those are the ones that I went through and I found out and they stood out. So I made a drum kit. And it's a good recommendation. You should make kits too, so that when you sit down, all you got to do is start drawing right here. Since I have like 300 kits saved, and we have Maschine kits, you can literally just browse through your drum kits, find one you like, and then start dropping the notes right here, or start finger drumming in Maschine, or do a combination of both. So many possibilities, man. You can make a melody with like a VST plugin, like I showed you, route it through one of those perform effects chains that I showed you, and start adding stutter edits, filters, manipulate the audio. You could run it through the gross beat preset. It could slow it down for the first like 2 bars, and then it starts stuttering right before it drops. Like, crazy. All right, man. So this is what I was working on. This is how these sounds came together. So until next time, man, y'all check me out. I'm gonna make some more videos just for the new year. And the template, a lot of people are trying to get away from Maschine, but Maschine is still a powerhouse, man. And so that's why you really need to like either know how to use my template or see what I'm doing with it, so that you can kind of incorporate that into your own projects, or you can get the template and kind of customize it to yourself. Because my template is like a key. I try to tell people that it's showing you how to link these programs. These same settings would work for any program. Ableton, Studio One, Logic. You could run all those programs and control the transport options. But I always see people asking questions like, how can I control it? No one knows how to do it. No one knew how to do it like this. It was a complete accident that I found out how to do this. And since still nobody has been able to set it up like this, it's because there is no guide to set it up like this. This is something I did by trial and error. It took me a very long time, and I got it right. That's why I offered it as a service, and I have a lot of happy customers, so I appreciate y'all. All right, man, until next time. All right, I'm gonna switch it over, and my computer doesn't like me to play all this, so I'm just gonna play the audio. All right, man. Until next time, man.